Hey, shout out to Sus right there. Thank you very much for that sub. What's going on, chat? Just give us a second here and we'll be ready to go. Image of Steve, how's it going? Wait, was. All right, Chad, just give us 30 seconds here and we'll be ready to go. What is going on, everybody? Welcome to another episode of the Knights of TELERIA podcast. Thank you all for joining us on this wonderful, wonderful Sunday. How are we all doing today? I hope we got some really good shard pulls this weekend. And before we get too far into the show, we've got to talk about a couple of different things. First of all, the Champ Summon Rush looks like it's a little easy. And then we've got some mythical champions buffs. It's about time for some of them, I think, especially for Aphidus. But before I get too far, let me introduce my co-host for the show today. In the top red box, representing the free-to-play community, we have Mr. FinalKenpachi. Ken, how are you doing, brother?
Little bit sick actually, unfortunately, because this week was like we yell a lot on the stream and my throat doesn't feeling good. Got a little bit sickness there, but we finally got the partner, so I'm sorry about that. And yeah, man, like I slept like baby that night, you know, like that was amazing. That was the best sleep I ever got for a long time. Nice. Because it was so stressful for me, like been working 3 years, you know, obviously slowly growing. And we finally did it. Thank you everybody for the support. That was amazing. Thank you.
Awesome.
Nice, man. Great. Well, two big things happened to you this year. You made Streamer of the Year and Twitch partner, which is
only tier 3 left.
That's it. Tier 3's left, and it's homed in. It's homed in. All right.
Also, I opened my shards for the fusion. Obviously, I'm going for the Thor fusion. It's amazing. On my first secret shard, I got the Freya.
Oh wow!
Which is
I hate you.
I've been I've been actually asking her a lot. So I actually max her. We play a little bit. Maybe we can talk later on. Okay. But yeah, cannot wait to share my thoughts about her.
Okay. Well, congratulations on your Freya. I'm not too happy about that. Just because I didn't get her. But congratulations to you. You know, just a little envious. Next up, representing the low spend endgame community, our favorite late night streamer, Mr. MXPJE. PJ, what is going on, brother?
Doing good, just hanging out, working on the Thor fusion, watched a little bit of UFC, still liking the Black Mist on Wukong, and yeah, happy to be here to talk about some upcoming stuff with Raid with you guys.
Nice. Next up, representing the live arena aspect of the community, we've got a top 100 player, Mr. Gestal Gaming. Gestal, what's going on? How are you doing?
I'm doing great. I really enjoyed, and we're going to talk about this. I really enjoyed this champ chase because I think I pulled one sacred on both accounts and was still able to get the fragments. Kind of trying to hang on to them to get that Freya and the Deck of Fate. So I liked it. I know we're going to talk about that, but so I didn't pull any shards for myself, but I did pull 117 for my buddy Leote. And it's pretty funny if you want to go watch a whole lot of sacreds get pulled. Head on over to my YouTube, man. Quick plug.
All right. I mean, I've never actually had the luxury of opening 117 sacreds. I've never had the luxury of opening more than like 30 or 40. But how was that? Like,
Yeah, well, it was honestly it was kind of weird because you just want to, because you can't 10 pop it, so you're just doing one at a time, and you're like I'm like hitting sacreds, you know, like it dawns on you like occasionally, but you're just sitting there hitting sacreds. It was pretty crazy, man. It was a little surreal.
Okay. All right. Well, you know, speaking about shard pulls, so I did, you know, my normal shard pull video. And last night, I'm sitting in bed with my son, and we're watching, you know, it's Saturday night is movie night with him. And he's like, Dad, I really, really want to pull some shards. I'm just like, I can't let you pull the sacreds, buddy. I really need to hold him. He's like, come on, just one gold shot. I was like, no, we're not going to do the sacreds. I'm like, but I'll tell you what, you can pull my ancients. He pulled me 10 ancients and got me a wall master. I was like, what the hell?
Awesome.
Jeez, lucky.
What the
That's
hell?
awesome.
And mind you, the last one he pulled on my account was a Crizia, right?
Akrisia
So-
on your alt account.
on my alt account. So this kid's got something for enemy max HP hitters. Before that, he pulled. We were just playing around on some like alt accounts, and he pulled a mythical Mezamel on there, which we're gonna be talking about her because she got a buff. So that's gonna be interesting. But I was just like, I'm like, dude, what the hell? What is going on with this luck? I'm like, I should have you open up my videos. Maybe I might get some better pulls. But you know, we've got to talk quite a bit of stuff today, and I want to jump right into it. And the first thing is going to be the buffs that we're getting from these mythicals, right? Because it's about time some of these mythicals are getting a buff, and I can already see Mr. Gestal getting excited about the
Yes.
Mezamel buff. Let me just find my screenshots here. Ooh, Ancient Shard. I'll take that.
Got the
Nice.
boots.
But so we've got Mezabel coming up on the chopping block as first, and it basically looks like we're just getting just a whole bunch of damage boosts, right? There we go. All right, so the first one up is nope, that's not the one that I want. This is the one that I want. So we got Floney the Mechanist first, right? And what they're changing with him is basically just increasing the amount of damage that he puts out. Now, we don't know what the multiplier is going to be. I'm hoping it's somewhere. The last time they did this kind of a buff, they did it to Siegfried, and he became arena meta. Do any of you guys have Floney the Mechanic? The mechanics? You do?
I do. Yeah.
Have you built them out yet?
Yeah, but he was one of the first three. In that 3 pull I got, he was one of the 3. So I built him right away, obviously, because there were like 7 mythicals at the time. But like I've never used them
Okay.
in anything. Like maybe some Curse City.
So how excited are you for the new buff to come in?
Well, if they do what they did to Siegfried, this guy is going to be awesome because he's got a AoE and he's got a 2-hitter that steals 2 buffs each hit, I think.
Mm-hmm.
If those both hit hard, he's going to be awesome. If he hits like a Laz, if he hits like Siegfried,
Oh god.
he's going to be. I think he's going to be. Yeah, that's what I'm saying. He's going to be.
I
And he's
have a
HP
Laz
based.
and I'm like, oh man, that's a hard hitter.
That's but we don't know, right? Like it's just damage increase. I read through this on my stream, and they said like on each one of them they talk about a damage increase, but they use a different adjective for each of them. Like this one is a respectable damage boost. Mezamel, it says something else. Like each of them, I don't know if they were just trying to change up the language, but like, what does that exactly mean? Like, we got to see what it means. Like, we got to see the numbers. We got to see what he hits.
Right.
That's what it'll come down to. Well, especially with this guy, they didn't give us anything else. So
Yeah, so I'm excited to see. I do have a couple of viewers that have already offered to play test them, so I'll definitely be taking a look at it. But yeah, I'm hoping again. The last time they did the damage boost increase, it was Siegfried, and he just changed the arena meta. Right, he's changed the meta for almost everything. You use him in Fire Knight, almost on anything out there. So I'm really excited to see what he's going to do. Let's go to the next one, which was Mezamel. Now, Mezamel, I thought she was decent, but what it looks like with again here is the damage, and then we'll ignore on the A2 a 15% damage on the target's defense, right? Anybody other than Mr. Gestal Haver? PJ, no? Have you guys play tested her at all? Ken? No? PJ?
I haven't, but I know some of my clanmates use her in live arena and like her. They have like a pretty decent build on her though, for like with the block revive. But no, I haven't used it. I haven't used her.
Okay. How about you guys, chat? Have you guys used Mezimel? Do you think that the damage was decent, or should it have been more? Gestal, I guess this question is going to be to you since you're the only one that has her, but how was the damage on her? Was it pretty good or decent?
If you had like crazy gear, if you could get her to like 8,500 attack, 350 crit damage, she could take out pretty much any other nuker, maybe minus Taurus, through Stone Skin. She was never taking a support out though.
Okay.
But like that's a really difficult build because you either got to go with Shuzen or you got to go in there with a boost. That's going to get her to like go right away. So we're talking those numbers plus like what 300 speed. Like I know a couple guys who have that, and they're big boy accounts. I can't get those numbers on her, so I haven't really been using her.
Okay.
I'm hoping now, like the only place I would use her is if like I'm running into a Wukong or like a George or something, and if I have Armands already, I can bring in Shuzen and just boost her into it, and that's pretty much the end of the match. But yeah, like I'm very. This is the one I'm the most excited about. Obviously, hopefully she's like George. Like I think she's got to be on par with George.
Okay.
Because. Like, come on. I don't know, man. I don't know. Like, should Mythicals be better than Voids? I don't know. I kind of feel like it, but like they should at least be on par with them.
I feel like they should. Chat, what do you guys think? Should Mythicals be better than Void champions, or should they be on the same par?
Two other quick points.
Yep.
This one, they said a far more threatening presence on the battlefield.
Okay.
Noticeable boost to damage, making her a far more. So again, a little bit different. We're also getting the ignore 15% of target's defense on her main ability, the one that block revives.
Yep.
So that's a weird number to me. Why is it 15%? I think most people are 25%.
Yeah.
So what I'm hoping is Plarium, did you playtest this and find that 25% was
What?
broken? Yeah, exactly. But why is it 15%? Why is it 15? Normally it's 25. So I'm hoping that they just like her multipliers are so high. They're like, ooh, we gotta back this down a bit and went to 15. So we'll see though. Okay. I just found it interesting that it's 15.
So maybe the damage increase or the multipliers on her are going to be so good that they needed to nerf the amount of ignore defense that she was going to have.
So, yeah, that's what I'm hoping.
I could take that. Now, the next one is actually the one that I think a lot of people are excited. And it's Aphidus, right? So he's got two forms here. That's not the one that I'm looking for. This is the one. All right, so they're not really changing a lot on what the skills do. It looks like it's just a basic damage boost, right? So on the A1, the damage is increased, and then attacks one enemy places a 60% decreased defense. Also places a perfect veil on this champion for one turn. I think it was Jay, if I'm not mistaken, that pulled Aphidus, but on the main one, on the A1, I guess, is this going to be a pretty good ability to have for Hydra and stuff? Speaking about Jay.
Yeah, sorry about that. I'm gonna be here this week.
Well, there we go. We got a little thing right there from Jay. Yeah, and I'm gonna throw this to you first. Is that going to be a good enough for the A1 of a buff? Giving a little more of a damage boost, a decreased defense?
Hydra wise, sure, like we don't mind like A1 skill custom decrease defense, because like doesn't matter you bring a decreased defense champion on the Hydra. Like sometimes when you kill the heads, their debuff are going, right? You need to replace their debuff, and sometimes not all of them is dying at the same time. So that would be nice. Yeah, good skill, I guess. Good A1.
All right. Gestal, what about you?
Yeah. Well, I pulled a Phidias.
You did?
Yeah.
Okay.
I haven't. I'm actually gonna build him today on stream. Because I think he's gonna make my brutal team way better, and then obviously with the buff, it'll be way better. But so the A1 is it's now, instead of putting it on himself, it's gonna put it on someone else. Is that the change?
So
No, the opposite.
It's yeah. He used to put it on another ally. Now it's going to put it on himself, and he's going to give
Okay.
a 60% decreased defense for 2 turns on the A1.
Yeah, I guess it's helpful, right? You want him to have the veil so he's not getting feared from the blue Hydra head. So yeah, I think it's probably better he's putting it on himself.
Okay.
I think it's a good change.
All right. PJ, what about you? What do you think, man?
Yeah, I actually pulled him this past 2x
That's cool.
Primal as well. I was pretty excited to test him before the buff in the first run for Hydra. I'm definitely excited now. And yeah, I think this the decreased defense in the A1 is really, really nice. Kind of Ken mentioned it earlier, but your like the heads are getting decapitated at different times. Like it's hard to have consistently decreased defense up, and a lot of times nowadays you're having ally attack in Hydra, so just having those chances to get the decreased defense up just on the A1 is really nice. I've seen teams where the only decreased defense is like Ninja's A1 and like Mikage, and they're just be able to spread it around enough. So having like a decreased defense and then like an AoE decreased defense and then just on top of it, just in case they use it, decapitate the head, you don't have to wait the 3 turns or 4 turns to get back around to get the decreased defense. You can just A1 with this guy and get it up right away, and that is massive damage. And then the Veil on himself is nice as well.
Okay. So with the new, well, I guess let's go with the old A2 first, right? Attacks all enemies before attacking, places a 50% increase attack on all allies for 2 turns, and then increases the duration of all enemy debuffs by 1 turn. This is basically off a 1 turn. So with the A2 now, it's going to increase more damage, right? And then it's going to still attack all enemies, give us the increased attack. Will ignore 25% of the target's defense if they are not under HP burn. Will ignore 50% if they are under HP burn. I guess Plarium's really trying to push out that HP burn debuff. So PJ, what are we thinking here? Hydra-wise, I think, are we looking at big numbers here?
Oh yeah, I mean, if you have the HP burn, that's 50%, plus if you have like Helm Smasher and Savage or Lethal or Merciless, like that's 100% or even like more than 100%, I think, of ignore defense, which is, I mean, yeah, that's big numbers. He brings HP burn himself. You could pair him with an HP burner. Yeah, no, that's just a huge upgrade. Can't wait to see how the damage does.
Ooh, Zero Brew, actually, shout out to him. He can't be here, guys, today because wife had some surgery, so we're hoping for a speedy recovery. But shout out to Mr. Zero Brew there. He just made a good point here. Gizmak and Aphidus on the A2. That's actually going to be a pretty nuts combination right there. I guess Stone Skin might not even be relevant, or will it? Gestal, what are we thinking the A2 here, man, arena-wise?
Yeah, well, he was jumping ahead of Zero was jumping ahead of me. That's what I kind of threw out there when we went through this on Friday on my stream. That is this form actually going to be viable for live arena? You bring Gizmak in, run his run the extra turn, A3 with the all the buffs. And then instead of swapping forms there, he uses A2, and you basically, I mean, I kill people through Stone Skin with that A2 sometimes. It's ridiculous because he's igniting the HP, and then you just finish it off with a Phidias A2 hitting through basically 100% of defense if you build him with, whatever, Merciless and Helm Smasher proc and whatnot. So I don't know, maybe not, but I'm certainly gonna try it.
Okay.
I'm gonna test it out.
Ken, what are we thinking, man, about the A2, the damage boost, ignore defense, and the dumb 50% if they have the HP burn on them.
I mean, first of all, on the Hydra wise, like if you have like champion like Sulfurian, you know, like or any other HP burn, like even can be Artag or the Ninja, you know, he's gonna deal more damage, which is can be very very huge. 50% ignore defense is huge, guys. Like even on the default, he's gonna be ignored 25% defense. Doesn't matter they have HP burn or not. It's a very very strong. Like we just talk about the Mesoman, right? And Gestal mentioned it's only 15%, and this is like 25%. And additional more 25% if they target under HP burn, right? So in the arena, obviously, Gizmark like the Zero and the Gestal mentioned, but Sufrione as well actually can be very, very strong to against the Stone Skin team. Especially if you have a Incarnate blessing on him, right? And you don't have to worry about the ship anymore because you can just give him pinpoint set, you know? And it's gonna protect you against the ship, and you are gonna melt the enemy Stone Skin. They are gonna melt, and after that he's gonna get a turn and smack them because they are gonna be under HP burn debuff, and he's gonna ignore their 50% defense. I feel like he's gonna be more viable in the arena than the Hydra, to be honest, after this balance.
I'm actually leaning to agree with that. And Gizmac, I mean, I've gone up against a couple where you know I'm running my Taurus Marechka Stone Skin. Full team Stone Skin, and they're just destroying me.
You need poly, bro. It's the only thing that stops Gizzy is poly. Dude is so broken.
I know, man. I'm just like, what the heck? But I feel like between these two guys, just on what's currently going on, Arena is just going to be a whole big of a menace. I might even start looking at taking champions out of it. Let's go to the A3 now, right? So attacks all enemies, instantly activates HP burns on each enemy. If an enemy is not under HP burn debuff, places an HP burn on him for 2 turns. So with the current change, we're getting a damage boost, and then attacks all enemies, increases damage by 25% against targets under any debuff. Not just HP burn, any debuff. Damn. PJ, Hydra, what are we looking at, man?
Oh yeah, I mean, again, you're trying to bring lots of different debuffs into Hydra, so you're most likely going to be hitting someone with a debuff on. Is it getting rid of the HP burn activation?
Everything is staying the same. They're just adding a damage increase and instantly activates HP burn activations on enemies. If an enemy not under HP burn, then we'll place 1 for 2 turns. So they're adding a damage boost if under any debuffs.
Right. So I would just be careful with that, because if he's the only HP burner, you want the HP burn. So if you're activating them, that can be a little counterproductive, because then you're going to go in with the A2 and they're not going to be there. So just got to be careful with that. Maybe bring another HP burner in, or just be careful using that. But yeah, overall, I mean, that's going to hit even harder, the 25% against any debuff. Yeah, that's awesome for Hydra. Can't wait to see how hard this guy's smacking. I think he could definitely throw some spice into some different teams.
All right. I guess so. Are we looking at this guy being, Sigfrid 2.0 in Arena now with this whole thing? I mean, the A3 is kind of knocking it out of the park, I think.
Yeah, I don't know. Obviously, we got to see how he hits. I'm still leaning more towards Hydra with all this, honestly, but I'm certainly gonna try it out. Especially, I guess, with the buffs. Like, his biggest issue is his polymorph, in both forms, because they added almost more potential in the second form for him to get polymorphed again. So, yeah, I don't know. We'll see. Like I said, I think the only real way this would work is through using him with Gizzy, or finding a way to get Vizug in there, and that might be in Hydra as well. So,
okay.
I'm certainly gonna try it out. I got him. I'd like, if I get we got a Soulstone event coming up. Hopefully I can pull something for him.
That is true. We do have Soulstone events coming tomorrow. Let's go to Mr. Ken. Ken, what are we thinking, man? Is this guy something you want to pull right now?
I mean, he's ugly, to be honest. I prefer some waifus first, but I guess I don't mind, to be honest. Especially just before they got a buff, right? So if the enemy's under just HP burn debuff, his A2 skill gonna be ignore 50% defense. And his A3 skill going to deal 25% more damage, right? Because it's any debuff, so it's actually amazing. Like 25% damage is very big, by the way. It's like something you cannot just slowly. I mean, not slowly.
It's a weaken.
What do you mean weaken?
Weaken debuff.
Like a weekend debuff.
Oh yeah, true. Yeah, it is.
Right?
It is. Yeah, good point. Yeah, it's a huge because weaken can definitely increase your damage. You know, like especially like think about like a couple of years ago. You know, like before we still using like decrease defense weaken champion for or any max HP eater. You know, like Spider for example, right? Like before we have like awaken and ascension stuff. Like the one shot in the Spider was so hard. So with the decrease defense only you can't. But when you use the decrease defense and the weaken together, you can deal insane damage bonus. That 25% gonna be noticed there, amazing, especially for the enemy max HP hitter. Obviously, he's not enemy max HP hitter, but I believe this is still gonna be sick.
I mean,
I'm really excited. On the first form so far, like very good.
let's be a little bit honest about enemy max HP hitters. Most end game content, they're kind of gimped compared to whatever most of the other champions can do, right?
Yeah.
Right. You know, I just feel like they need a little bit of love lately. You know,
Yeah.
they've got to come in with a little
I
bit
agree.
of love.
Enemy max HP is on the current end game perspective, definitely need some love.
Yeah.
They need to increase maybe their damage cap.
So on the A1, on his second form, they are now attacks one enemy, places a 50% increased accuracy buff on the ally with the lowest accuracy for 2 turns. Now it's going to be the highest and fills their turn meter by 10%. I feel like this is probably the better way to go about it. Although, I don't know. I'm kind of mixed on this because if you really, you're mostly bringing in a champion that's going to have 500-600 resistance and arena minimum, or accuracy, sorry. And then, is it really a big difference? Let's go to PJ first.
I mean, I'd say it's better this way. It's if you don't have accuracy on them, then giving them increased accuracy, you're like, I didn't want any accuracy on them. Like this,
Fair.
at least with the higher accuracy, like you were planning on giving it, like you gave them accuracy, so it's at least helping that. I mean, but yeah, I would say, and then the turn meter boost is nice, but I definitely think this is the better way.
Okay. And do you see this more as a PvE or PvP ability?
I mean, you could do either. I mean, if you had them go like really fast, but probably more PvE. But I guess you could do PvP if you're lower in arena.
Okay. All right. He is defense based in this form too. So, Gestal, what are we thinking here with the A1? Good, bad, ugly?
Yeah, I think highest makes more sense. I mean, the only thing I can think off the top of my head, like you don't like not that trend is really used in arena anymore, but you don't want accuracy on her. She doesn't get the double hit on the A3.
Okay.
Right. So I think putting accuracy on, put it on, let's say it's your Yumi or whatever lockout champ or your debuffer. They're gonna have the highest accuracy. It's always better to get a little bit more. Fill in turn meter by 10%. It doesn't hurt anything. I mean, it's an A1, right? You can't like do too much on an A1.
Right. Let's go to Mr. Ken next.
Doesn't make sense to me, this A1 skill, to be honest. On the previous version or the current version, doesn't make sense. Nobody gonna use the mythical champion to switch in form and using the A1 skill to get the increased accuracy buff, and
Okay.
there is a lot of great champion can already do increased accuracy buff with the more stuff like fill your tormentor like Lady Kimi, right? She's not even mythical, and she can give increased accuracy buff to your entire team, not only just the one champion with the highest accuracy. To be honest, like, meh, I mean, doesn't really matter. Like, this skill is not gonna be noticeable.
Okay. All right. So let's talk about the A2, right? So what it currently does is attacks all enemy, places a stun debuff on all enemies for 1 turn, places 2 continuous heals on all allies for 2 turns. No stun debuffs were if no stun debuffs were placed. So with this one, there is no more if, ands, or buts about it. It's going to do the stun and give you the heals for 2 turns. So no conditions. PJ, good, bad? What do you think?
I mean, the way it is now is it's almost laughable how bad. I mean, the conditional part is just definitely not needed. Again, he's a mythical. How like it's so weird. Like I guess you build him like no stun. Like you're not gonna rely on every stun missing to get the continuous heal. So you'd have to build him with no act for that to happen. Yeah, no, this makes way more sense. This is actually a really pretty strong ability now because you're stunning and then also healing your team. No condition. I like this a lot better.
Okay. Gestal, are we looking at using this ability at all in Arena?
I feel like this is kind of supposed, like the second form is, because they even mentioned like his PvE, PvP, which to me doesn't make sense. Like I feel like you got to focus these champs like one way or the other, but I feel like this is meant to be their PvP side. Maybe I'm wrong. I feel like the first side is a little bit more, honestly, but the a continuous heal in PvP is like whatever. I don't feel like that. I don't feel like that really helps you too much. Maybe a little bit. It's nice to get extra buffs like for Tars and Narcissus and whatnot, but stuns is great if you're not getting sheeped. Stuns are amazing, but you're probably getting sheeped.
The sheep always happens to me, not them, unfortunately.
Yes, exactly.
It's what it feels like, man. And it's like 90% of the time. Ken, feelings on the A2, what are we thinking?
Like PJ mentioned earlier, like he's a mythical champion, why there's a condition, right? And I feel like this form is very weak still, by the way, like both PvP and the PvE perspective. I feel like the only way to use this skill over there, like let's say you start the game like yesterday. Wait, if you start the game yesterday, you cannot get primal. Okay, like let's say you play the game enough to get 1 primal shard, and you open that, you got this champion.
That just depends on, what American Express says.
I mean, yeah, okay. Okay, like you got him, right? Like you can use on the early game account, mid game account, like second form as a CC for your PvE content, right? He can help you a lot, and he can also give you heal now. Besides that, like I don't really see the usage of this skill or the second form at all, to be honest.
Okay, all right. Let's take a look at the A3. Places a provoke that's still staying the same on all enemies for 1 turn. Also places a 25% strengthen on this champion for 2 turns, and places a 60% increase defense on all allies. Now it's going to place a 25% strengthen on everyone, along with the increased defense on all allies. So basically, a huge damage or huge sustainability boost, right? I feel like this is more of a Hydra. I'm beginning to feel like this form is not going to work well for us in PvP. But let's go ahead. Let's throw this to. Let's go to Gestal first. Let's get the arena out of the way.
Yeah, again, provoke is good if you're not going to get sheeped. It's obviously very strong, and if he's putting up increase defense and strengthen, those are both very, very, very good buffs. It's kind of tough to find increase defense champs like minus Siphi. We got Marius now. It's tough to find them that are doing AoE increased defense. So that would be a bonus. Freya does. Yeah, I don't know that yet.
I know.
But Freya puts up shields though, doesn't she? Like that's what makes me
shield,
nervous
block
about
debuff, and increase defense.
Yeah, because then you got to worry about Narcissus with that.
Yeah, true.
But we could talk about that later. But yeah, so those are all good buffs. But the provoke is what makes just scares me, man. Debuffs scare me in Live Arena. It's just the way it goes.
Okay. PJ, what are we thinking here, man?
Yeah, it's kind of making me wonder which side is the PvP and which is the PvE. I feel like, I don't know. I feel like this side is the PvE. It seems like it's great for like controlling waves and stuff. I don't know. I guess you could flip it and say that's for the PvP as well, but I don't know. I feel like maybe the first form, the Nukers form, is gonna hopefully hit really hard. But as far as this move specifically, yeah, provoke is great. The one I will say one not kind of downside is if you were using, you could use him as a mischief tank in Hydra if he was the only person that brought strength in. So now you're losing that, but I definitely think the strength in for the whole team is gonna be better overall. But yeah, increase defense strengthen, AoE is nice, provoke is solid. I mean, he's very good. He's kind of like a turn or like a wave controller. Could be good for Hydra a little bit, but yeah, I don't know. As far as the mythical, it seems still kind of meh.
Okay. Let's go to Ken. What are we thinking?
This form is don't book this form. This is
Okay.
what this form, PJ. Again, like on the very early game stuff like that, like he have a 2CC ability. It actually reminds me of Archer Girl. You know, she also has stun on the A2, I believe, and the A3 is a provoke. So she can be amazing control champion. Unfortunately, it doesn't. I mean, Aphidus doesn't have a decrease speed. Archer Girl also have that, so that's also what makes the Archer Girl amazing for the Hydra. But she also have a Hex, by the way. Yeah, and yes, guys, she's not a mythical. Kind of weak. Strength and increased defense together definitely gonna make you tankier, but why to like on the arena perspective, you know, like let's say you are using him as a nuker, you know, you are not gonna switch your second form. You are definitely not gonna switch your second form. On the only the early game, you know, can use this champion as a crow control, so they can, you know, they don't have to worry about the waves anymore. He also loss of defensive buff. Other than that, this second form is definitely very bad. Still very bad.
Okay.
I will say one thing. I do see him in some Cursed City stuff coming up, so I probably will use him for that. But he doesn't seem like he needs to be booked for that. So it's like,
Yeah.
like that's fine.
Just make him 300 speed, you know.
Yeah. 300
You can do
speed,
without
reflex,
it.
or relentless should be good
Yeah,
enough for
exactly.
him.
Yeah.
I honestly, I don't think I would book Form 2. I don't think it gives me enough to be able to
Right.
deal with it, right?
Yeah, it does everything without it.
Right. So let's look at the passive. So the passive currently has a 25% chance to place a weaken debuff, 35% chance of placing a stun debuff for one turn. I feel like just the 5% is not enough. I'd go off to say, like, you know what, just do a point for point trade on attack with defense as opposed to, you know, 40 giving us 5 more extra stun. But let me get your reaction to this, Ken. What are we thinking?
I mean, if you book his A2 and the A3 skill, they are gonna be 3 turn, right?
Yes.
Yeah, I mean, you don't need this passive stun there then. Like, you can stun them first, then you can provoke them if you need it still, right? This totally useless, like, totally useless skill, and the 5% not gonna be noticeable.
Right, I feel like they just said, well, you know, we buffed the A1, A2, A3. We got to give the passive something. Just give it 5%, you know? Gestal, what do you think, man?
Well, Arbus is by far my most used mythical that I have in Live Arena. And the worst thing about Arbus is in the second form, her passive is decreased speed. If she's attacked, she'll put out decreased speed. That sheeps her all the time. So anytime on passive where you're not even doing anything and you can get sheeped, it sucks. So I don't know, man. You're putting out weaken no matter what, and then you got a 40% chance of a stun. Like you're getting sheeped. You're getting sheeped with this dude in the second form.
Okay. PJ, what are we thinking? 5%
Yeah,
good enough?
I don't know. It feels like it's kind of like a counterproductive passive, kind of like what Ken mentioned. And like if they're stunned, they're not going to be hitting you. And then it does work with the provoke, so they'll be hitting with you with the provoke. But it just seems like it's almost like overkill. You'll between the provoking and the stunning, just off the moves, you should be fine. And then if they're stunned, they're not going to be hitting you. I don't know. It works well with the A3. It just seems like it could be better.
Okay. Yeah, I agree with that. I think out of all the buffs that he's gotten so far, the passive on this one is the weakest. Like I said, I feel like just a 1-to-1 point ratio would have probably been better. Because Lev did make a great comment here saying, you know, his first form is attack based. So it's really going to be kind of hard to keep him as tanky if we're building for damage on the first form, right? Which, and again, with the first form, we're looking more of like attack with enough accuracy to be landing the debuffs and stuff. So I guess the final thought on this is going to be is we'll have to kind of wait and see what the damage multipliers on a lot of these guys are. Again, I feel like they've been on the right direction with the multipliers. You know, buffing the other mythicals has definitely made them more usable. Especially, again, Siegfried is the prime example. I think he's pretty much my always #1 ban pick, probably over Armand's in live arena, because I know he'll just mess me up, even with the Taurus Marichka. So we'll have to, I guess, wait and see a couple of days, or I think a week before the next batch comes out. So if you guys have those champions, get them ready, start leveling them. I wouldn't book them yet. Let us do the testing. Let us waste our resources before you guys waste yours. But let me ask you guys, I feel like this fusion has been a little easy with the summon events. And it wasn't just me, it was a couple of people in Discord that have sent me some messages saying, listen, you know, 1550, it seems kind of low. Is it me, or does it feel really low? Ken?
I guess, but isn't like normally like when we are getting like 3,000 points, we are getting like epic champion, or do I remember wrong?
I think
we are getting
so.
a fragment right now, 25, which is.
I want to say I think they're usually around 2,500 to 3,000, even if it's a rare champion, is what they've been keeping it at. But this is only 25 fragments. I guess my bigger concern would be is what's the summon rush going to look like, right? So for this, we needed basically 6 sacreds. If you were unlucky, are you going to need 6 sacreds for each one of the next ones if you're going for those events?
There is gonna be 2 summon rush, by the way, this time.
Is it 2 summon rush or 1 more? I thought it was.
Yeah, there is a 1 extra.
There is 1
Yeah,
extra.
Looks very sus.
Okay.
Yeah.
So I feel like the summoning event on this is going to catch us off guard, and you know, if you're planning on skipping an event, I'd be very, very careful. Gestal, what do you think, man? Did the points just seem a little too low this time?
Yeah, honestly, it made things a little easy. I'm both my free-to-play and main account. I had a bunch of fragment champs I hadn't summoned yet, so I summoned 2 on each of those, and then just pulled. I pulled 2 on both accounts, and I hit Lego on both accounts. Neither were good, but that gave me all the points I needed, so I was able to hang on to a bunch of secrets. So yeah, it seems low and it does concern me, but I also kind of feel like the first 4 events as a whole have been kind of easy. I don't know.
Okay.
Maybe they're trying to maybe they want people to get Thor, and they realize that the other 2 were kind of very difficult to get, and they want to make this a little easier on people. Maybe I doubt it, but I don't know.
Maybe they're being a little nice to us.
Yeah, I mean, it could be.
Yeah. So I've had a few people like look into some previous ones, and I haven't done much myself, but they've said that in past champion chases with 2x sacreds that it's been around 1,500 points, and I think like Ken was saying, like if it was like an epic, it'd be around that 3k. So maybe it is more in line than we think. It did scare me though when I first saw it. I honestly didn't pull any shards to do it. I did 3 Broadma fusions. I fused a few rares to the Broadma, and I summoned 2 remnants, and I got the points without summoning any shards. So I was happy with that. But yeah, I was originally gonna skip both of the first 2 summon events and just do the last one. But seeing how cheap it was, it was hard to pass up. So I guess I'll see what I'll do, if I'll skip a DD or maybe just skip the last summon event. But yeah, it was surprising, especially when everyone was saying this was supposed to be a really hard fusion. Not saying that I want it to be a really hard fusion, but I feel like that was like the rumor going into it. This was supposed to be like a really, really tough one. And yeah, so far it seems to be okay. I don't want to jinx anything, and maybe they're gonna backload the second half of it just to get us like wasted resources and then try to screw people over. But yeah, so far I've been pretty happy.
So you guys know when we start getting too much stuff at the back end of it, we're all gonna blame PJ on this. Just so we're clear.
No.
Just so we're clear, because he's like, yeah, it feels like you're gonna do that. But I mean,
No.
I think the Dungeon Diver was usually the one I skip. This one, 3700 seems to be their new normal. Did this seem to be too much for you, the 3700? What do you think, Ken?
It is.
Too
Like
much?
there is no way you can. Yeah, there is no way you can get this number by using your daily energy. You know, you either need to save your some energy on your inbox, or you need to spend your gem to try to reach this number. It's impossible as a free to play on the time, which is there's gonna be three dungeon diver, by the way. So on the fusion there's always 3 dungeon diver recently. And yeah, it's very hard, man. Like I really hit dungeon diver for me is the hardest one, to be honest, for the free to play, because shard, just save your shard, you know, like you don't have to worry about anything. And dungeon diver is the very hard one.
Okay. Gestal, what about you? Did you think the Dungeon Diver was a pretty easy one, or was it too high?
I think 3700 is pretty typical for dungeon divers. What is kind of nice about this fusion with the dungeon divers is we do have the event dungeon going on, and that counts towards it. So any energy minus, like pretty much any energy I've gotten since that's open, I've thrown into the event dungeon, minus doing spider and dragon obviously for the fusion. But so it is making it a little bit more palatable, I guess, to go to 3700 for dungeon divers, because I'm actually farming something. Normally I'd be farming shoguns or sand devil, and you don't get anything for that. So like during fusions it kind of stinks. But I think they should also add sand devil and shoguns to dungeon divers, but whatever, that's for another day.
PJ, what are your thoughts, man?
First, they gotta change dungeon divers to like gear event or something, because it's not a dungeon diver.
I actually have a
gear event.
I have a different opinion on that, but that'll be my follow-up question to you guys.
Or if they're gonna do a dungeon divers, make it all dungeons. But dungeon divers and what it is are like not necessarily the same thing. But as far as this, yeah, it was. Dungeon Diver is usually the toughest. You got to try to overlap it with as much as you can. I was finishing my campaign missions for the monthly, so I was like triple dipping with that campaign, champion training, Dungeon Divers, and then just trying to overlap the spider. Don't do spider early. Like you have to wait the one day. Try to save until the next day. Then try to overlap with dragon a little bit, so you can get the first little bit done with, or first a little bit done with dragon with the back end of this dungeon divers, then wait to the next DD. But yeah, they're definitely, I would say, the most difficult thing now, aside of like pulling shards. It costs usually more energy than it like used to, and it can be rough, but just gotta play smart.
So let me ask, I mean, I know Ken's been a huge proponent of like, why aren't we getting points for Sand Devils and Phantom Shogun? But I guess my question to you guys should be is, should we be having dungeon divers for the getting gear, or now that we have this turn counter, should they just be doing the events as how fast you can clear, how many turns? Would that be a better way of getting it done as opposed to just getting gear? That way we could do Phantom Shogun and Sand Devils. Ken, what do you think?
I mean, this turn tournament usually easier for the end game perspective. You know, if you have a fast team, it's definitely easier to finish any dungeon. I mean, any tournament, like let's say Dragon tournament, but turn attack, you can definitely finish that way easier. I don't think Pillarine want that, to be honest. That would be amazing. I'll take it, of course. I really want to take a point from Santaville and the Phantom as well, like the Gestal mentioned that. But no, I don't. Pillarine not gonna do that.
Okay. Maybe they should just switch it to, you know, each dungeon gives you a certain amount of points without any gear. Gestal, what do you think?
Yeah, it kind of stinks that it's based on gear, because you can certainly go on real bad runs. Like I was running earlier and I got I was I didn't have any more Autobotas left, so I was just hitting it as it ended, and I had like 8 in a row of 5-star blue gear on Dragon 10, and I'm like, why am I even running Dragon 10? How am I still getting 5-star blues? Ridiculous.
Yeah.
So you could just get those bad runs, and you know that can really, you know, that could really be difficult. That can make it difficult for you to be able to finish the dungeon divers. So yeah, it'd be cool. It'd be nice if they did it in a different fashion, for sure.
I mean, come on, who doesn't have a double G-Nut, double Kaimar, and a +3 Seer with a crushing rend to just run it in 18 turns? Come on, guys. Joking. PJ, what do you think, man?
As far as making it be like turn attack, I kind of like how it is separate. I feel like it'd be good for the end game, late game, but I feel like for early game, the turn attack is going to be way rougher. Because they're not really optimized to be going as fast as possible. They're just trying to beat it. So I like how it's kind of separated, but I do agree that they need to do something with one Phantom Shogun. We have Sand Devil. There's got to be Phantom Shogun events, and then they gotta, like I was kind of mentioning earlier. I mean, it's called a Dungeon Divers event, but you can get points from campaign as well, which makes no sense because that's technically not a dungeon, that's campaign. But the dungeons in the like Sand Devil and the other dungeons in the dungeon area don't count. So they either gotta change the wording or change the title, because it's really a get gear event. It has nothing to do with really dungeons. It's just getting gear and accessories. So either change how it works or change the title, but yeah, it's kind of misleading, and it feels like it needs an update. This seems like they added this in the very beginning, and the game is like changed and evolved way more since when it was just like the original Dungeon Divers. So I feel like with times of changing, they got to update like the titles and how they work in the events.
Okay. Well, I definitely I agree, and I think farming Phantom Shogun and Sand Devils is pretty much what most end game players are doing now. I think, and I was looking at it with farming Spider. I'm like, why am I even doing this? Like, I mean, I know I need the silver and I need the points, but I'm not keeping anything that's not a 6-star legendary because there's so much here now that is just trash. Like, I can't make the argument to use, you know, even a 6-star epic with the slight damage boost I might get from, you know, a 1% or 2% over what a 2-piece set or even a 1-piece bonus set would be for some of those. So I do feel like we need to kind of revisit that and kind of look at them and see. But I guess this is going to bring us into a good segment for the next part, which is mobile versus PC players. Now, when I started playing Raid, it was strictly mobile, right? And we've all kind of graduated to the PC version side, but there's still a lot of players out there that are mobile. You know, chat, let us know, are you mobile or PC, or do you do both? but there's some good things for mobile. There's some good things for PC, but there's bad things for both of them. Now, I'm gonna ask you: a majority of your time, is it spent on mobile or PC? Ken.
PC.
Okay.
But Platinum push, like I'm on the work and I push it on my phone.
Okay.
So
Gestal, what about you? Mobile or PC most of the time?
Well, I normally have my main account open on the PC, running something, and I normally run the free-to-play on my iPad.
Okay.
Because I just don't have as much to do on there. Obviously, I don't have as much energy. I'm not always running and stuff, so I normally get the free-to-play done on my iPad.
Okay. DJ, what do you spend most of your time?
Definitely PC. Yeah, almost 100. I mean, not 100%, but yeah, 95% PC.
Okay. I guess this is going to be targeted to each one of your, expertise areas. But being free to play, Ken, is it more difficult to be a PC or more difficult to be mobile?
mobile, of course. Like first of all, you have a small screen, like there's a couple of the things on the PC you can do, you cannot do that on the mobile. Chat, correct me if I'm wrong. I believe some iPhone model have that feature, but I'm not sure, the expensive model. But on the mobile device, there is only 60 FPS, no unlimited FPS.
Correct.
Which can make a huge difference, guys. Normally, it should make a difference. It's just gonna make the game smoother. But on this game, it's actually make game running faster. Like, you guys can test it if you want. Like, just run your spider, for example, or the spider actually gonna be barely noticeable because most people spider run is the stable. But let's say you have a dragon team like 1 minute. Run this team unlimited FPS on the PC. Then on the options, make that like 30 FPS and run it again. Like there is gonna be maybe 30-second difference. Okay. Just because of the FPS. And on the most of the phones, if I'm not mistaken, maybe super new model have this feature now. They only have 60 FPS maximum. They cannot give you more.
I think I have an iPhone 13 or 14, and I want to say I think there's usually like an 8 seconds or 10 seconds increase between my Fire Night team when I'm running it on mobile.
So unlimited FPS mean obviously it's not unlimited, it's a limit something, it's a 240 FPS, guys. So 240 FPS versus 60 FPS. And again, it's not only the smoothness, it's also decreasing your dungeon time, arena fight, for example, when you push a platinum, that's really affect me because I'm pushing platinum on my phone, and you can do it on the faster on the PC, which is PC. If you install the game on the SSD, like PC, super fast SSD on these days. Obviously, game going to load faster as well. I mean, mobile devices cannot be raised to PC, which is totally normal.
Okay.
Also on the PC, game looking better as a visual.
That's true. Well, I think Plarium does a pretty good job both ways, but because the graphics are higher on PC, I think it does look better that way. PJ, what do you think? End game perspective, is it more difficult to be on the mobile or PC?
Generally, mobile is harder. You do have the mobility access, but Raid's a game where you don't necessarily have to be watching it and like playing it to actually have it play. I mean, you guys have it running in the background, just auto battling or just going through Doom Tower, just climbing by itself. So it's not like you have to really sit there and click things, especially if like 1,000, 2,000, 3,000 energy, just let it go and leave and come back. It's not like you have to be like sitting there watching it. So yeah, I'd definitely say mobile is at a little bit of a disadvantage.
Okay. Gestal, Lavarina wise, how difficult is it to be mobile versus PC?
It's not the end of the world. It's just a small screen. Like when I was in San Diego a couple weeks ago, and I hopped on my phone and was doing some live arena. It's not like it doesn't make it any more difficult. I don't think it's really a detriment, but it's just nicer when you're at your computer and everything's bigger and easier to click. I guess I don't know. It looks
Okay.
better when it's larger.
I guess for myself, I want to say I'm pretty 50-50 between my usage for PC and mobile. I like the mobile side of it because it's convenient. I can just, whatever I'm doing, if I'm doing dishes, I can have it running right there, watching it while I'm watching my, Netflix or whatever. And then, if I'm at work on my lunch break, I can log onto my account. But let me ask you guys, which do you prefer? If you were to just be locked into one, would you want to do strictly PC or mobile? Ken?
Oh, it's a hard question. Obviously, I'm streamer, so PC because I
Well,
cannot look at people like I'm with.
Let's take the streaming and the YouTube aspect out of it, just pure
Okay.
enjoyment. What would you want?
I mean, to be honest, like you mentioned earlier, I like to be log in the game whenever I want. Let's say I'm outside of the house, which is Raid is like online game too. And it's a very, very competitive online game. You need to be check your tournament stuff like that all the time. But I think I still prefer PC too. Like
Okay.
because on the PC there is also third-party application. Actually, Raiko mentioned that we have a HH optimizer, RSL helper, stuff like that. Just this program can definitely help you. On the mobile, these things are a little bit more difficult, I believe. Not macros maybe a little bit, but yeah, they are not that smooth as the PC.
Well, I will tell you that there's a lot of the player base that is not really happy that PC players have such a huge uphand as opposed to mobile players. But Gestal, if you could only do one, taking everything else out of it, what would you pick?
Yeah, I mean the biggest downside to mobile is power issues. My phone would be dead all the time. I try not to run on my phone because I need to have my phone for other things, right? So that's the biggest downside to me. I love the convenience of it. That's what I really first drew me to this game. I was always like driving. I was all over the place, and I was just looking for a game I could play on my phone, and then I found out you could play it on your PC. So like, that's what drew me to the game. Like I was just looking for a good mobile game to have that I could just pick up and play whenever I had time. But yeah, PC. I would say PC now, just because, like I said earlier, I have it on and running as much as I possibly can. Not all the time, obviously, but and you just don't really have to worry about it. So I'd say PC.
Okay, PJ, what about you?
Yeah, tough question. Obviously with the phone you have the mobility aspect. That's like probably one of the best parts of it. Take it wherever you want. I just think it's once you start playing on PC and seeing all the perks and stuff, I feel like it's hard to go back to the phone. So I'd probably still pick PC, even like in that scenario. But if you've never played on PC and just been on the phone, then maybe don't try PC because it's pretty nice. But yeah, I'd probably go PC still.
Okay. All right, so let's talk about some of the, I guess, drawbacks of being completely mobile. Battery life expectancy, right? Your phone is only able to charge so much. And I don't know if you guys know, but every time you charge your phone, it reduces the life cycle of its battery. The screen size, yes, it's great playing on a bigger screen. Playing on a smaller screen sometimes could be better as well, but with most phones nowadays you can do multitasking. But the screen size is a big thing, not always hitting the right area of the screen. We've got the controllers, the touch controllers, right? You don't have like key bindings and stuff like that with the PC like you do with PC. Storage is a big thing. Most people usually have their game or like a 60 gig phone. I don't know how many gigs this is currently, but I'm guessing it's gotta be, between 2 or 3, if not maybe a little bit more.
No, more than that.
More
Probably
than that?
7, around of
7?
7.
Okay. So you're talking, if you have like a 60 gig iPhone, that's almost what, the 7% of it.
Let me check actually.
And then we have, not being able to use like multi battles and stuff like that. But I'm curious, what do you guys have like let's say your 2 biggest drawbacks of being mobile strictly? What is it? Let's go to Ken first.
Can you ask it again? I was looking the size. It's almost 5, by the way.
5 gigs?
On my phone. Yeah.
What are like the 2 biggest drawbacks of being mobile?
There is a loss of the disadvantages, of course, battery life, like you mentioned. Phone getting hotter, and the phone is not only for gaming. Unless you have one more phone for the gaming, which is go by PC. But you need to talk. You are in the game right now. Let's say you're doing Hydra. Like, can you imagine how many people going to talk, call you during the Hydra? How many times you need to write a message, stuff like that. Obviously, oh my God, can you imagine running Hydra on your phone? Jesus.
I have a couple of times. I will not lie. It's good that my teams are full auto.
Okay. Like it's can get really really warm up, right? And my PC was actually broken. I have to push one CVC on my phone, and man, that was very hard, guys. Like, to be honest, I respect the mobile player all the time. If you play this game mobile, like the PJ mentioned earlier, there is, some mobile games have a feature called it like run at the background. So you have a team, right? Dungeon team. Let's say you need to do dungeon hundreds of the time, which is on this game. Like, we need to do lots of dungeon, right? Mm-hmm. And you can run it at the background, so they are not going to use their animation stuff like that. They are still going to use their normal time. If your dungeon is 1 minute, it's going to cost you 1 minute. But instead, it's going to be put your phone in the like low
energy save mode.
Brightness. Yeah, energy save mode, basically. Yeah, exactly. It can help, but this game doesn't have that feature. So when you run your dungeon, it's gonna be on the screen all the time, which is, if you minimize the game, it's not gonna work anymore.
Right.
Maybe you can split your screen, which is, I don't know, most people phone can do that, or the people know how to do that, stuff like that, and can't say it's working that pretty, to be honest. So I can tell you more if you want.
Okay. Chat, same question to you guys. What, I guess, is your 2 biggest drawbacks if you were to be completely mobile? Gestal, what are we thinking?
Yeah, pretty much the same as Kenpachi said. Number 1 is the battery, but I would say number 2 is just like the loss of use of my phone. Like, I use it for work, I use it for life, like phone calls, emails. Like, my phone does a lot of different things. I can't have RAID on there 24/7. It wouldn't work. So those to me would be like, I just wouldn't be able to do it. I wouldn't be able to play the game like I do if it was mobile only.
Life, what is that? That's a good question. PJ, what are your 2 biggest drawbacks for being pure mobile?
I kind of have similar ideas as Ken and Gestal. I would definitely say how hot your phone gets. Like the battery life, big issue. I was going to mention, I'm not sure really about the split screening of the phones, but just how you have to have it running and you pretty much lose access to your phone while you're playing Raid. There's some other things. I think people in chat maybe mentioned this, but just like, I guess, smaller screen. It's gonna be hard to like selling gear, finding gear, clicking, that kind of stuff can be a little bit more difficult, especially if your phone isn't super responsive. Maybe like screen's cracked or something, so it's gonna be hard to like click what you actually want to click. And then definitely those longer battles, those Hydra runs, especially if you're manualing. Oh my goodness, that's gonna be rough. But yeah, I definitely think the overheating and the just pretty much losing your access to your phone is big ones.
Okay. Some of the other ones I'm seeing here is a lot of people can't run RSL Helper on their phone, right? Yes, there are some things that you could use for, I believe it's auto clicker, or I think it's only, what is it? Not the Samsung. What version? That tells you what kind of phone I have, right? I have an iPhone. And I know for iPhone, I can't use an auto clicker. They're not allowing them. But if you're running an Android version, I guess you can. But that also heats up your phone quite a bit. Now, let's not kind of kid ourselves either, right? PC has some of its own drawbacks as well, too. We have the lack of not being able to, open it up at any time. We need to dedicate time to sit down at a PC to play it, right? So if you run a busy life and you only have that hour or maybe half an hour during lunch or your train ride back and forth to work, and that's when you play it, that's when mobile has the advantage. PC, you need, again, to sit down. Also, we were talking about battery life. Well, what about the consumption of the energy you use, right, to play this on your PC? That's going to run a lot more. Takes probably 3 times more energy to run my PC than it does my phone, even if I was to fully charge it. But let me ask you guys, what, if any, drawbacks do you see being on just pure PC? Ken?
No, there is no drawback. Maybe, like you said, like electricity going to cost more, stuff like that. But on the PC is very big perspective. Like a laptop can be PC, so you can bring it. You don't have to sit on this chair all the time to play the raid. You can got there is a handle device run, like Steam Deck. I'm actually running a raid on my Steam Deck. I'm doing sometime Hydra. And it's running pretty well because it's not like mobile device. It has a better chips, like it's almost like PC CPU inside of it. And I really enjoyed actually playing with this thing because streaming here a lot and my room very, very hot on the summer especially. And I just want to go different rooms and, do different things. And while playing the raid, it's actually great. Again, you can also purchase the laptop for that. Besides the energy cost and the price, maybe. To be honest, you don't need a very strong PC to play the raid. That's also the thing. Even I don't know, 5 years, 6 years old PCs can run the raid very, very smoothly.
That's kind of tough. I will say I just had to upgrade mine about 1.5 years ago because the one I had was I want to say 5 years old, 6 years old, and
but you are streaming. You're not playing the raid. I wasn't
streaming before. When I started, I started streaming on my laptop, and the laptop.
I don't know. My old PC was 8 years old whenever I started the raid, and it was running well. And I was also streaming on that PC, 8 years old PC. Obviously, I wasn't streaming that high quality stuff like that. I was streaming 720 pixel, 30 FPS, but they said how to say that, turn-based game, so you can stream this game 30 FPS, nobody gonna notice it. If anybody thinking hey guys, can I stream, I don't have a good PC to raid challenges, yes, you can start it. This is how I started.
Yeah, well, I started streaming with a laptop. It was an Alienware laptop that I had gotten for $1,000 because it was around my budget, what I was looking. And it worked out well, but that itself had some issues too, right? The overheating isn't just on the phones. We have the overheating on the PCs too. And yes, it might be a little bit easier with, the PCs to keep them cooled, but let's say a graphics card goes out on your computer right now. How much are you looking to spend to replace that if you're, if you're overheating it? But Gestal, what if any drawbacks are there to being pure PC?
Just like if you're on the road or away from the PC, you might not be able to do like a live arena or a plat run or like anything that's kind of time sensitive. You can set and forget stuff like set up dungeon runs or whatever, and kind of walk away from them. Like even a Hydra, if you're a full auto Hydra team, you can just set that and walk away from it. But I would say not being able to do like the time sensitive stuff. And yeah, I don't know.
Okay.
Probably it, really.
Okay. I mean, chat, do you guys and any of you PC players out there see any big drawbacks other than, a couple of the things that we mentioned here? PJ, what about you? Any drawbacks? Any big drawbacks towards being pure PC?
I would say just the biggest one is if you're, if you're going away for an extended period of time, because like I said, you can easily just set a couple thousand energy, let it go, you leave, come back. You can set, if your Hydra keys are out, you can set it. But if you're going away for days, then that's gonna be, you can't really do that. You have to like switch to mobile or switch to laptop or something. But besides that, can't really think of any. No.
Agar Velder actually makes a huge point here. PC sucks you in for life. No walking away from that. I think he's right. I think he's right on that. But again, there are some big things, right? Like the cost of the PC could be almost 3-4 times or whatever your phone could be, right? It doesn't take a lot to play on the phone.
That's really depends. Like if you're talking about like iPhone, PC probably gonna be cheaper. Obviously, okay. Like what kind of PC to like? PC can expensive than the iPhone, but you don't need that kind of PC to play the raid.
Well, you could buy
to play the raid.
I'm gonna play devil's advocate here, maybe, but I think an iPhone, the cheapest you can get it is like $600-700. My PC setup, granted, again, I do streaming and YouTube, was about $2,600. So
you can't compare yourself to that.
Yeah, it's not the same.
But,
like you don't even need a graphic card to play this game, to be honest. Like, and integrated CPU graphic card should be handled this game.
But doing it on PC, like even playing any game, at least for myself, I like playing it the right way, right? So I wouldn't have a one monitor like I used to before when World of Warcraft came out. But again, I think there are some disadvantages still there. Now let's talk about the two biggest things that are the disadvantages for being PC versus or mobile versus PC, and what Plarium needs to do to kind of even the field on this, right? So we have RSL helper, which is probably the biggest disadvantage of being mobile, because we get gear cleanse, right? We can do it pretty easy there. We can farm unlimited amounts as long as we have our energy. We can have it do our Hydra battles, just keep rerunning it until we get whatever score we want. Numerous amounts of things, which big shout out to Barbza for bringing that out to the community as a free tool. I guess my first question to you is going to be, how does Plarium even this out? Because you can't really do this on mobile, right? So Ken, what do you think? What's your suggestion to Plarium saying, listen, mobile players need help. This is what needs to happen.
I don't know it's a technical possible, but getting more FPS should make the game running faster, in my opinion. So first of all, they need to balance there. They need to be fixed. Either they need to fix the game on the PC 60 as well. I don't want that, but that can help. The another thing is like background fight. When you run your 100 dragon, for example, let's say we need to run the 100 beta right now. Like, let us run at the background. Like, why it's a drain or energy from the phone. I think that's the only things they can do it, because rest of the stuff is the literally like physical problem. Like phone is the small. You can put small thing inside of that. This PC is massive. The sizes matter.
Okay. Gestal, what would your suggestions be to Plarium to kind of help them even out the field?
It's very easy. I have one form. Hire Farbsoft and integrate RSL Helper into the game.
I think that's probably the easiest.
Or buy it from them. Whatever they got to do. Whatever.
I,
Set my man Farbsoft off, though, because RSL Helper is awesome.
yeah, I agree.
I don't use it, but it's awesome. It's an awesome piece of software.
Okay. PJ, what about you?
Yeah, I kind of had a similar thought. I mean, I don't know if they would ever do that, but yeah, either hiring him or getting him to integrate it into the game would be amazing. I did like Ken's idea of like the background battles. I think that'd be good for PC as well. I know we're talking about mobile, but I think that'd just be nice in general for the game to have stuff running in the background while you're doing other things. I know a lot of games have that right now, so I don't think it's too hard for them to implement. But yeah, somehow I know one good thing is HH's optimizers now on mobile, so that's a little bit of a plus. They can start using that optimizer. It's obviously not the same as RSL Helper, but I would say that's definitely a big win for the mobile community, being able to use the HH optimizer on mobile now.
And correct me if I'm wrong, I think so for the PC client side, we can automatically equip the gear in game. I don't think you can do that on mobile, which is huge. Being able to throw in, build, and then equip the gear right away instead of me spending 20 minutes to look for that one single piece is
Best
huge.
thing ever.
So again, big shout out to Hell Hades as well for that.
Yeah.
It's phenomenal that two content creators that are outside the company, that are a total separate entity, are doing more for the game quality of life than Plarium. PJ, you were gonna say something?
Yeah. So I was doing a gear cleanse for myself like a couple of days ago, and I was using RSL Helper, and I was like selling a bunch of pieces. And when I went to sell, it said some of these pieces are in your preset, but I had 120 pieces, so it's like, how am I supposed to know? It would be nice if they would tell you which pieces you're trying to sell that are in your preset, because I have 120, 130 pieces selected. It's like, well, which ones are the ones in the preset? Like, I'm gonna go through each one, unselect it, hit sell, see if it's the one. Like, so I feel like that would be a huge quality of life to be able to see which champ or which set gear is in the preset before you sell it.
Yeah, I agree. I guess my next kind of question is gonna be the running the backgrounds, right? Running the multi-battles in the backgrounds. I think that's a great feature that they could add. I know Watcher of Realms does it and a couple of other games. I'm going to ask you straight out, let's be as blunt as possible. Why hasn't Plarium done it yet? Ken?
I know.
Like, there is a lot of question like that. Why this game doesn't have that? I can ask you like 10 questions right now. Why there is no friend system? Why there is no friendly attack? Why there is no battle log on the arena, Which is, I'm thinking, why? I don't know, man. I really don't know. They are trying to make this game not successful, I feel like.
Okay. I can tell you why the friends list doesn't have it.
Why?
Because they want to release it as a feature down the line.
I mean, the game is like 5 years old, man.
What are we waiting for?
Yeah, so what do you think, man? Why haven't they released the background battles yet?
Well, I think the biggest detriment to the game is that it's built on Unity. I mean, that platform is so, like, I don't know where it's at these days, but like, I feel like it's a real dated platform. They could I'm afraid that they'll move away from it and then come out with, Raid Shadow Legends 2 and whatever. That would be horrible, but I don't know if that would be a problem or not, but I feel like that's a big detriment to the game evolving in like other directions. So not that that should really cause a problem with running background fights, but I feel like that can have a problem with some of the things getting implemented. And I would say they're holding on to friends list till they do friendly fights. Like that's going to come in all together for PvP, which they did say they're doing. So I would hope that's by Christmas. So maybe
They
it'll
said
all
that?
come by then. Oh yeah, they said they'll have it. That was like a year ago, but they said they have it.
Yeah, it's Plarium time, you know. There's I often make fun of it because I'm Greek, my wife's Armenian, and we talk about, you know, Greek time and Armenian time. Usually Greeks are like an hour late. Armenians about 2 hours late. Well, Plarium's like 3 years late, you know, if we're going off Plarium time. PJ, what do you think, man? Why haven't they done it?
I mean, it feels like probably it's a time thing. They want us to spend more time, and that would speed us up time, I'm guessing. Like they're trying to slowly keep us as like playing the game as long as possible. So I'd assume if they added that, we'd be able to get things done faster, less time. Bad for Telerium. Can't tell their uppies. Like we have them playing for this amount of time. Like it's going down. It'd be. I don't know. I feel like it probably is like a time thing. Maybe it could be an engine thing, a Unity thing. I don't really know much about the back developing of like any of that. But if it's a time, I mean, it feels like maybe it could be a time thing.
Okay. I have the explanation here of why they won't do it. It's called $9.99 raid card a month. Imagine on the mobile side how many players will not buy this if they are just running things in the background.
Yeah, they could change it though.
They could,
Yeah.
but
Well, then we never get RSL helper either.
the multi battles as a mobile player are gold.
But the thing to me is, like, if people are going to use energy, they want that. They want people buying energy, using energy, wanting to have more energy. Like, preventing them from using energy because they don't have multi battles is probably a detriment in the long run, in my opinion. I'm no, whatever CFO or nothing.
I mean, let's take a look at here, right, in the shop. How you can't even buy multi battles. Once you use up your multi battles, there's no way for you to get any more, right? And it's the one thing you actually can't purchase in the game unless it comes as part of a pack. So
Isn't it like weird?
I guess we have
care
to
on PC about it though. Like PC, they let us run RSL just fine, and it's pretty much wiped
That's
out
what I mean.
multi-battle.
Like,
They
I
let
don't
us-
feel like
they let us
multi battles
run it,
aren't.
but it's not something they control, right? They could
I mean,
at
they
any
could
point
let us not run it.
They could, and they could very well at any point in time turn around and say, you know what, we're not going to approve these tools anymore. If you use them, you could get banned.
But like on PC, it's okay, but mobile, it's just such a weird like.
Well, you can't buy the raid card if you're a pure PC player. You can only buy the
I
raid
think
card
there is
on.
a way of getting it.
You have to be a mobile player. You have to buy it through a mobile, set up your subscription through a mobile, and then you can never buy it again on a PC.
Under daily progression.
Daily progression, you can't buy it.
That's what someone in chat just said.
You can only buy it if you are a mobile player. You cannot buy it if you're a PC player. I know because
But
I've
if you're
looked.
PC, you don't need it.
True, but again, that is a $10 a month expense or thing that people are buying if you have if you're a pure PC. Now, yes, you could use emulators and stuff like that, but that is one of the things that they don't want, or it feels like they don't want. Let me ask you guys: do you think Plarium favors PC players or mobile players more? Ken?
Mobile probably.
Mobile?
Probably mobile.
Okay.
Yeah. Because mobile is big market, bro. Not everybody have a PC, but everybody have a phone, right?
Okay.
That's why the mobile games are getting that successful, reaching more people.
Okay. Gestal, what do you think?
Yeah, they probably. The game's gonna get known through mobile. I feel like it's known as a mobile game, and then people are going to move to PC. I think it's more the market. It's built as a mobile game, so yeah, I think I agree with Kenpachi.
Okay. So
I'd like to see what the numbers are, though. They probably don't give any of that information out, but I'd love to see what the user count is for CPU versus mobile.
Okay. PJ, what about you?
I feel like they like well, I mean, I feel like I don't know if they favor PC more, but if they really cared about mobile, they wouldn't let PC. I'm not saying they should do this. I'm just saying they wouldn't let like PC use outside like things in the game to help us if they really wanted, like if they cared about mobile. I feel like.
So you're taking the stance of they care more about PC players than mobile.
Yeah, because they just don't. Yeah, because if they cared more, then they would make it more of an even playing field. I feel like.
Okay. So you feel that PC is more in their versions of what they're doing. You think PC is the one that they hold up to a better standard and saying that anything we do, we're taking PC over mobile. Or any updates or anything like
not
that?
Not necessarily. I'm just saying that their lack of caring about RSL and these third-party apps that are obviously a big advantage to PC, that they don't care about mobile as far as, like, I don't know. I mean, if they cared, I feel like they would be more strict on these. I mean, again, you're talking about multi-battles and losing all these sales. Imagine how much more sales they would have if there's no RSL helper. About how many more multi-battles people would be buying.
Well, I think, even back in the day, it was easier if you just had an auto clicker. You just hit repeat.
Oh yeah, get rid of auto click. I'm saying, yeah, they would get rid of all of that.
Well, it's a little difficult to try to look at, auto clickers.
Well, I mean, it depends on what kind of auto clicker, but I mean, they've already the auto clickers that make it go really, really fast that are like super broken. They have ways to detect that.
Yes, but they don't have ways of detecting. Like if I just have, I think it was called like Click It Bot or something like that, or Auto Click It, where I would literally just have it sitting there, just clicking restart, or playing on an emulator where I just set up a macro recorders. There we go. You could set up macro recorders.
I don't know. I feel like if that was against the rules, then people would maybe get banned or potentially like breaking TOS, or I don't know. I feel like it would. I mean, if it was against the rules, probably people wouldn't do it as much. I'm sure there's ways of them to maybe figure out if people are auto clicking or not. But I don't know. It seems like if they're talking about money and wanting to, not everyone that's using RSL would do that. I'm sure they would make a lot more money if RSL and all these emulators weren't a thing for PC.
Okay. Yeah. I'm curious, chat, how many of you guys that are purely mobile actually buy the raid card every month as a 100% purchase, not even thinking about it, right? Because I do feel like that is probably the biggest reason why they don't let us do infinity battles anywhere else, right? Because almost anywhere else we could get the extra multi battles if you want to do your if you want to do your faction crypts, whatever keys you have, it depends on whatever stage you have, right? Same thing for your gold keys and your silver keys from Doom Tower. But I guess the big thing here is going to be Plarium's got some things they need to work on with being strictly mobile. Because, let's face it, it is a mobile game. It's advertised as a mobile game. It is cross-platform, which is phenomenal for a lot of us. But they definitely need to, make a couple of updates here. I think worrying about, and I want to say, I think Watcher of Realms, when I was playing it, you had a chance. You could go in the shop and buy yourself with either gems or silver, buy yourself multi-battles, right? And I think that's probably the biggest drawback that they have. Imagine, could you do a fusion without having multi-battles on a mobile? Ken?
Yes.
You would
sit there
without multi-battles.
Yeah.
You'd sit there on a mobile device and hit Replay.
I mean, fusion kind of need a high energy, but usually you don't need a high energy to spend. I mean,
Okay.
you don't have a high energy to spend if you are free to play. That's the thing. Like, I'm never use the RSL helper, for example. People ask me why. I don't have energy. I can
Okay.
just click on my mouse. My daily energy is 700. Like,
Okay.
it's not that hard. Especially we have a super rate now, right? So, like, it's not my problem. Sorry.
Okay. What about champion trainings?
What happened training? Campaign, you mean?
Campaign farming, yeah. If you need to.
Oh yeah, it's costing less energy, so that can be a little bit problem.
Okay. Gestal,
Yeah.
what about you? Do you think if you were put to the challenge of not using multi battles next fusion, which by the way, guys, I think we're gonna see if you guys can do it. Next fusion.
I can't do it. I can't.
Gestal's like, no.
There's no
I'm
way.
already telling you it's not happening.
Well, I just don't have the time to. There's no way I could do it.
Okay. PJ.
The only time I'm really focused on the game is when I'm streaming. Like every other time, it's just either running or it's not basically.
Okay. PJ, what about you? What do you think? Would you
I
be
mean,
able to
if
do
I
it?
had to, I mean, I'm sure if I had like a life or death situation, I could. But like every fusion, would I want to? No, I mean that'd be miserable. That would not be-
do
that'd
you
not
even
be
think
good.
you could do it on a single fusion? Is the bigger question.
I mean, if someone said like put a gun to my head, I could do it. Yeah, but like, I mean, I could if I wanted to. I mean, I play raid pretty much all day. Like but it's not something I would enjoy or would want to do every time.
Okay.
But I'm sure I could.
Funny, well, not funny, but back when, I don't know if you guys remember the Cernic Champion Chase or the Champion Training event. I did 48,000 points, and back then that was a lot. I did that on strictly mobile. I didn't sleep for 2.5 days almost.
Jeez.
Okay.
Damn.
That was insane. My finger, I feel like I had carpal tunnel in my arm after that. And then when I discovered RSL Helper, I said, oh my God, this is heaven. Darn, just to answer your question about Jay, so he's doing every other week because of work schedule and stuff. He's trying to get some stuff situated, so he'll be back soon. He was on the podcast last week, but he couldn't make it this week, so he should be on next week. Now, at the beginning of the podcast, we had a question posed to us by Heavy Robot. And I'm curious to see what you guys have said. I gave you some time to think about it. But he asks us, if you could make your own gear set, how many pieces would the set bonuses be? And what effects would you give it for like a 4-piece, 6-piece, 9-piece if you go up that far? And then, what I guess my next question will be is where would you want it to be put in and farmed? Let's go. Alpha is like, no more gear sets. Let's go to Ken first.
1 piece 200 resistance, 2 piece 40 speed, 3 piece 350 more resistance. I mean, they hate resistance, so I need to do really something to counter, right?
Okay.
5 piece 4 piece. Make this champion immune to the Armans. Like, he's just gonna be ignore the Armans, like he's not in the game, 6 piece bonus. If it is depends on the champion type, okay? If it is attack, ignore 50% of the target defense. If it is like defense, I don't know. If it is support, depends your type, like a high stat, it's gonna check your high stat. Like if your high stat is the accuracy, it's gonna give like 20% more bonus. If it is resistance, 20% more bonus. I actually like that. I just figured out that now I actually like it.
Okay, so I think looking at it overall, the resistance set wouldn't be bad with some decent bonuses. And I want to say, I think, what do we have? We only have a couple of sets in game that have just resistance stats, right? So we've got resistance set itself, and
Fortitude.
then Fortitude gives us
Stone
some.
Skin, little bit.
Yep, Fortitude gives us 40 resistance. Stone Skin gives you some from the set bonuses, and then we had Righteous.
Untouchable.
Untouchable gives you a little bit too as well. But nothing, nothing crazy after like a 6-piece set. So I think a resistance set would be something good to have, but I feel like, you've got to have like a solid 6-piece set. Ken, would you want it the max stat to be at a 9-piece or a 6-piece?
9-piece, I think.
9-piece.
9-piece are nice, man. Yeah, I love 9-piece gears.
Okay.
Because it can give you more bonus, like you can even use that like 8-piece, like you cannot get the juicy thing ability there, baby, but I love 9-piece, to be honest. The one thing I really don't want to see the another gear set, like Alpha set, like especially like what's the point of the releasing this last 2 gear set back to back, like Feral and the Pinpoint, both of them is the accuracy speed gear. Like, I really don't get it. There is only 1 month difference, guys.
Well, one is, it's the game modes. It's the game modes that are...
Yeah, but Feral set is totally useless now thanks to the Pinpoint. Like, Siege is totally useless now. Come on, man. Like, who is going to use the Feral set? You need like 6-piece, 50% chance to...
Listen,
prevent.
I will take a Feral ring every day on any champion. I'll take a Feral ring.
Any champion, but I got your point. But come on, like, just need a 1-piece then. Like, there is a 9-piece. By the way, 9-piece bonus is not bad. But if you're talking about like against the ship, nobody gonna use the Feral set against.
That's true. Yeah. All right, Gestal, to you, same question.
Well, yeah, I was with the resist thing, so it'd be kind of like Feral, right? It'd be instead of 40 it'd be resist. I think you stick with the speed on the 1, 2, 3. The 3 would be resist. Another 40 resist. And then I'm going right to can't get sheeped. We'll go 25 on the 4-piece, 50 on the 6-piece, and 100% on a 9-piece. Can't get sheeped.
Okay. Can't get sheep. No polymorph.
Period.
TELERIA.
Yes.
TELERIA, here's how you keep the community happy and make them mad at the same time. Is right there. PJ, what would you do, man?
So quick thing. Heavy, pretty sure if your 6-piece has a chance of placing provoke on weak hit, and the 9-piece, if you're placing through a weak hit, it would also place through the poison cloud. So your 6-piece and 9-piece do the same exact thing. But personally, I would do like a boosted curse set. We don't have anything that's like better than curse, so I'd do like a curse plus like speed and ac, maybe like a 6 or a 9-piece, and then 6 or 9-piece, maybe bring decreased speed in as well, chance of landing decreased speed and hex, and then in between the sets or in between the pieces, give it like accuracy and speed as bonus stats.
Okay.
Let's get Archer go.
Yeah, Archer.
I'm actually gonna go with Sus's idea, which is an HP burn for a 4-piece set, 50% chance to land it, right? And then on a 9-piece set, 50% chance to land HP burn, 100% chance to land a block debuffs. I think that set right there would be phenomenal for Hydra.
That'd be cool.
Because it's probably one of the 2 things that you've got your decreased defense covered on most of the champions. You can bring in curse gear for the hex, but if you don't have an HP burn for poison cloud, then you have to use an affinity breaker set. So you kind of need something else there, right? And I feel like one of the biggest things people are lacking are HP burn. So that was a great call out, Sus. right there. And yes,
That's the only debuff that we like don't have a set for, isn't it? Pretty much, we have like poison, sleep. Every other thing can be like
poison, sleep, stun. Yes. I mean, we don't have a decreased defense, right? We don't have a decreased attack one, but
I guess there are some, but
most champions
most of
already are gonna bring in some sort of decreased defense. But I think it's just one of those things. Like, and you know what? I feel like heal reduction should probably come back in a set, because I've been finding myself kind of having to use it in some areas. Yeah, exactly. I was kind of, you know, when I was doing the T-Bones account, when I was doing his, I was like, damn, I wish I had a curse set from back in the day now that was like 50% heal reduction, right? I feel like that would be good. So Plerium, you know, bring heal reduction back, you know, especially with Amius now. Do you guys think they did that on purpose? They took out the curse set from heal reduction because they knew Amius was coming? Ken?
Yeah, that would be nice. That would be nice because, I mean, Amius boss is possible without heal reduction, but your damage basically need to be more than his heal. This is how we are gonna kill him. And most people cannot do that. And it's make the boss super difficult because of the condition. So yeah, it would be nice.
Okay. Gestal, what about you? Do you think they did it on purpose?
I feel like they were really trying to help people out in Hydra. I don't.
Yeah.
It was kind of a pointless set, really. You know, until Amius. I don't know if they knew about Amius when they did it.
Okay. Well, according to their, you know, roadmap, it was like 3 years in the making, so maybe. PJ, what about you? Do you think it was done on purpose?
surprised me. From what I've heard with what they did with Pixnil and Fire Knight hard and changing her, like her original would have been insane for Fire Knight. It was like a quad hitter A1 every, like had a chance of freezing like each hit or something. Like, and then B just kept on saying she's bad, so then they changed her, then they dropped Fire Knight hard, and she would have been a god there, or goddess. So yeah, I honestly wouldn't be surprised. We're all saying that it's a bad set, not used anywhere. So okay, we'll change it and then drop a boss that would have been perfect for her. So honestly, would not surprise me.
Okay, I guess maybe before we start calling out champions that need a buff, we should probably wait until they see what kind of content they drop. Because, like, to your point, she could have been god tier.
She would have been Skywalker.
Yeah, she would have been really good. But let me ask you this, Ken, where can everybody come and find you?
FinalKenpachi on the Twitch, streaming every day, guys, on the Columbus reset time. Also, my YouTube channel, FinalKenpachi, making video there as well. If you guys watch my YouTube channel, sub my channel, that can really help to grow. Appreciate it.
Let's get Mr. FinalKenpachi to tier 3 before the end of the year. We've only got a couple of months. But make sure you show him some love and support there. Gestal, where can everybody come and find you?
Yeah, Gestal Gaming on Twitch and YouTube. I've been putting the live arenas up on YouTube. If you want to go check those out, give me a sub there. And if you like Live Arena Live, I do it at Reset every day, except for Saturdays.
All right. PJ, what about you? Where can everybody come and find you, brother?
MXPJE on Twitch. I stream pretty much every single weekday, 2 times a day as much as possible. Do raid, other games as well. Come say what's up, hang out. It's a good time.
All right. Let's talk some shoutouts. Ken, what you got for a shoutout?
I like to shout out my community this time because we reached the partner final, guys, after 3-year grinding. 3 years ago I started streaming, and there is some pictures on my channel, like my first video actually on my YouTube channel. It was a Night Revenant, and Night Revenant Faction War, guys, 3-4 years ago doesn't have that much alternative, you know. And Night Revenant Faction War, yeah, my last one, so I have to beat it, right? And I wasn't having too much alternative, of course. So anyway, I record this video, and there is a one moment there, like I have like 78 followers on my channel, stuff like that, whenever I first time streaming. And yeah, here we are now, guys. Thank you all of you for the support over the years. We finally reached the partner. Hopefully before the end of this year we can be tier 3 content creator as well, because testing champion costing resources, but on the test server, you have unlimited resources. That's actually I really wanted test stuff there without a worry about the free-to-play resources, so that would be amazing.
Okay. So you mean to tell me you didn't have an Arix to help you with Faction Wars?
Arix wasn't in the game.
Yeah, not back then.
There was only 5 Legos. Bro, I wasn't even a Rector, man.
Yeah, no Rector, bro. There was no revives. It was so hard.
Yeah.
It was the last one I completed too.
Yeah.
It was everyone in Stunset. It was like mostly epics and Stunsets.
Yeah, they was on the sunset, but I cannot give them mastery, so I'm not getting like 5% extra.
That 5% makes such a big difference.
It does,
Yeah.
It's crazy.
uh,
I don't understand, but
I think when I beat mine, I had Doom Priest, double Skull Crowns, and double Tenacious, and I was praying not to die. I was like, if I die, I'm done. Gestal, with the cute little puppy in the background, what you got for a shout out?
yeah, I'm gonna shout out my man Leody. He's the longest subscriber on my Twitch channel, and he's the one who I opened the shards for on Friday, the 116, 117, whatever you want to say. It was 116 on video. So big shout out to Leody. He's I don't even know what he looks like. I don't know his real name, but I consider him a longtime friend. We've been in the same clan for 4 years, and he's been coming by the stream for over 2 years now, man. So big shout out to my man Leody.
Awesome. Hey PJ, what you got for a shout out for me?
all right. So we're actually gonna be shouting out FinalKenpachi. Just really proud of all the hard work you've done this year. I mean, getting partner, raid, streamer of the year. Like honestly, so crazy, bro. Keep up the hard work. Super happy and proud of all the hard grind you're doing, and it's awesome to see, bro.
All right.
Big congrats.
Huge congrats. Huge congrats.
Yeah.
Thank you.
As for myself, I'm actually I guess this might come out a little corny, but you know, since I did my collab with Ash, I have really I thought like tier 3 creators, you know, really up, you know, people that had their channels developed would be like looking down and like, no, go away. But I gotta say, man, like he has been so helpful when I'm trying to come up with stuff, and what's, you know, sometimes I feel like a little discouraged, like, oh man, like this video isn't getting views or what. And, you know, he helped me out a lot, and like, you know, just keep going at it, talk, you know, there's not going to be a niche. There's so many of us out here that are doing this content. But I guess my shout out goes to Ash for just being real, not being, I guess, too big headed like some other people would be like, nah, I don't got time for you. But huge shout out to him. I just, again, I love the guy. He's great to chat with. But with that said, we're gonna raid Mr. Metaverse Truck, who looks like he's doing some Hydra. So when we go over there, Twitch, make sure you guys give him a follow, give him some love over there. I also do want to give a quick shout out here to Sus for the tier 1 sub earlier, and Agar Vadar, who also followed me on Twitch. Huge shout out to you guys. Thank you very much. I appreciate you. You guys are all legends. Thank you all for watching us for these last 2 hours. Thank you all for hanging out with us. And I do want to end off on one last note. There will be no podcast next week. My kids actually got what's called a yes day out of me. So they're using it on a Sunday, which means I have to do everything they want on Sunday. I'll let you know how bad that feels on Monday. But that said, guys, as always, much love, much appreciation. Be safe, be well, be good to each other. We'll catch you guys next time.